Have you ever heard of a single speech changing the world? Well, in the late 19th century, one man's voice did just that, echoing from east to west with a message of strength, unity, and the incredible potential that lies within every single one of us. He was a monk, a philosopher, and a patriot who completely changed how the world saw India, and maybe more importantly, how India saw itself. Today, we're diving into the amazing life of Swami Vivekananda.
So picture this, the year's 1893. The place is Chicago, at the very first parliament of the world's religions. An unknown young monk from India, dressed in vibrant orange robes, walks onto the stage. Nobody in the audience has any idea who he is or what to expect. He's about to give a speech that will absolutely electrify the room and turn him into a global figure, literally overnight.
And leap he did. The newspapers went wild. They described him as this irresistible force, just captivating everyone with his powerful words and deep wisdom. But, that kind of sudden fame just begs the question, who was this man? And what kind of journey brings someone to a moment like that?
To really get who he was, we've got to trace his whole story. We'll look at him as a restless young man, then as a disciple to an incredible master. We'll see how he discovered the cry of a nation, delivered a message to the entire world, and in the end, built this amazing legacy of strength.
Right, so the man who took the West by storm, he wasn't born some kind of global icon, not at all. He started out as just a boy, born into a really complex and rapidly changing India, and that's where his story really begins.
He was born Narendranath Datta, or Naren for short, in Calcutta back in 1863. And from a very young age, he was this fascinating bundle of contradictions. On one hand, he was deeply spiritual, but on the other, he was fiercely rational and logical. He was just bursting with energy, but at the same time, he could sink into these incredibly deep states of meditation.
And if you want to understand Naren, you have to look at his parents. They were like two sides of the same coin. His father, Viswanath, was a successful lawyer, very worldly, kind of an agnostic. His mother, Bhuvaneshwari, was the complete opposite, deeply religious, totally devoted to the ancient Indian stories and traditions. So Naren got this amazing blend, He got his dad's sharp, questioning intellect and his mom's deep, spiritual heart.
And that rational, questioning side, it showed up early. There's this great story where a neighbor claims a tree is haunted, probably just to keep the kids from climbing it. So what does young Naren do? He scrambles right up the tree and tells his friends, hey, don't believe something just because someone tells you. Find out for yourself. That right there would become the core of his message to the world.
He also had this built-in sense of fairness. His father's office had separate tobacco pipes for people of different castes. Young Naren, being curious and a bit of a rebel, went and smoked from every single one of them. He basically said, I don't get it. What's the difference? He just couldn't stomach these artificial lines between people.
But all that rebellious thinking was grounded by this rock-solid moral core he got from his mother. Her advice to him was simple but powerful. Always chase the truth, no matter what happens because of it. And that became the compass for his entire life.
So, as Naren gets older and goes to college, all the books and debates leave him feeling spiritually empty. He joined all the popular reform movements, but they just couldn't answer his deepest questions. He became obsessed with one burning need. He had to find someone who had actually experienced God, not just read about it. And he wasn't shy about it. He'd go to the most respected religious figures of the day, and he'd ask them this incredibly bold question, point blank, and every single one of them fumbled. They couldn't give him a straight answer, just vague compliments or evasions. And then he met a simple temple priest named Sri Ramakrishna. Naren asks his question, and the reply he gets is just stunning. It's so simple, so direct, so certain. For the first time in his life, he met someone who spoke about God from personal, direct experience. This moment changed everything. Their relationship wasn't just about talk. Ramakrishna was a mystic of a whole different level. Early on, a simple touch from him could send the ultra-rational Naren into a state where he felt like the world itself was just dissolving around him. Can you imagine? It was terrifying, but it was also undeniably real, and it created this unbreakable bond between the two of them. After Ramakrishna passed away, Naren's life took another huge turn. Now known as the monk Swami Vivekananda, he set out on an epic journey. For years, as a penniless wanderer, he walked the entire length and breadth of India. He wanted to feel the soul of his country firsthand. And what he saw just broke his heart. The poverty was crushing, the suffering was immense. His personal spiritual journey for his own salvation completely transformed. It became a burning fire to serve the millions who were just trying to survive. This wasn't about finding God in a cave anymore. It was about serving God in the faces of humanity.
His journey eventually led him to the very last piece of rock in India, at Kanyakumari. He swam out to it, and for 3 days straight he meditated. Not on some abstract idea, but on India itself, its past, its present, and its future. And there, in the silence, his life's mission became absolutely crystal clear.
And what came out of that meditation was this brilliant, incredibly practical plan. He knew he had to lift his people out of poverty and ignorance. To do that, he needed resources, and he saw those resources in the prosperous West. So his plan became this grand exchange. He would offer the West India's deep spiritual wisdom and in return bring back the science and practical know-how to rebuild his own nation. So, armed with this powerful mission, he went to America. The Parliament of Religions was his stage. But what exactly was the message? What did he say that connected so deeply with people thousands of miles from his home?
He basically took the ancient philosophy of Vedanta and distilled it into this powerful, universal message that anyone could understand. Step 1. Every single person has a spark of the divine inside them. Step 2. Everything is connected. We are all part of one single existence. And Step 3. The highest form of worship isn't in a temple, it's in serving other people, seeing that divine spark in them.
He saw a world that was seriously out of balance. The West, he thought, was rich on the outside but starving on the inside for spiritual meaning. The East was spiritually rich but crushed by material poverty. He wasn't there to convert anyone. His goal was to create what he called a healthy synthesis, where each half of the world could help the other, creating a more complete and balanced humanity.
Vivekananda returned to India as a hero, but his work was nowhere near done. He dedicated the rest of his incredibly short life to awakening the spirit of his nation and building a legacy that is still going strong today.
And what a life it was! I mean, look at this timeline. He meets his master at 18, becomes a world-famous figure at 30, founds a global service organization at 34, and then he's gone, at just 39 years old. Think about that. In less than 10 years of public life, he completely changed the course of history. It's just astounding.
If you had to boil his entire message down to one single idea, this might be it. To the West, he taught about the divinity within. And to India, he delivered this powerful wake-up call for self-belief. He told a nation that felt beaten down that it had infinite strength inside it. He famously said, "What our country now wants is muscles of iron and nerves of steel."
Swami Vivekananda's life is pretty much the answer to that question. He showed that true spirituality isn't about escaping the world, it's a powerful force for changing it for the better. His legacy is a challenge to all of us, really, to find that divine strength within ourselves and then use it to serve the world around us.